Before we move on to the next award, let's take a minute to hear from the company behind the special night that we've gathered here to enjoy. Please welcome the co-founder, CEO of StayClassy, Scot Chisholm.
How's everyone doing? Let's make some more noise. You guys having fun? We've had a good time planning this so far, and we're looking forward to meeting everyone afterwards at the after party. I want to talk to you a little bit about a few things tonight. This past April, I went on an event, and it was called Summit Series. And the best way to describe Summit Series is a mix between a conference and a networking event. And each year they change the location up. This year it happened to be on a cruise ship, which wasn't too bad for everyone on board. But the cool thing about Summit Series is they bring together the top leaders in the for-profit world, but also the non-profit world, to collaborate and to engage in discussion and debate about some of our largest and toughest social and economic challenges. There were all sorts of people on board. I mean, a crazy list. From the for-profit world, you had anyone from Richard Branson to Russell Simmons. From the nonprofit world, you had an equally as impressive list, and unsurprisingly, many of the people that are nominated here tonight were actually on board. But across the board, everyone there was doing absolutely phenomenal things in every corner of this earth. And when I stepped on board, to be honest with you, I was pretty intimidated. I sat down and I was listening to Richard Branson speak, and he was talking about his laundry list of accomplishments throughout his life, and he actually had earlier that morning, he had fed a baby tiger with a bottle of warm milk, and I'm actually not kidding. He really did do that. But in all seriousness, I did start to question my own credentials for being with such elite people. That is until I met a person named Johnny Immerman. And I know some of you guys know Johnny Immerman. For those who don't, Johnny Immerman was a 2-time cancer survivor and, more importantly, an amazing person. He went through and endured weeks and weeks of chemotherapy, aggressive chemotherapy, every day, 8 days a week. And Johnny came out on top. And that wasn't even nearly his most impressive feat. Johnny, in the hospital, observed that other cancer patients didn't have the type of support structure that he did from family and friends, and he credited the support structure with his recovery. So he vowed right there and then to start an organization that paired cancer fighters with cancer angels, and giving the cancer fighters actual proof, living proof, that they could win the battle with cancer like Johnny had. He called it Immerman Angels. And to this day, they've helped thousands of people across the world battle cancer and win that fight, all because of Johnny in the hospital. So given my background, I've always been super impressed with what Johnny was up to and what he's been doing. And I was really excited when Immerman Angels decided to use StayClassy fundraising software this past May. But I was even more thrilled to actually meet Johnny in person at Summit Series. And having never met him in person, I didn't expect him to know who I was or what I looked like. So I was trying to seek him out. And the first night we were there, he actually did the seeking. And we were across the deck, and I saw him from several yards away, and he looked over at me with a huge smile, and he kind of beelined it over towards me. And so I, put up my hand to introduce myself. And he was having none of that, so he pushed my hand away, and he kind of Heismaned me out to the side here. And he gave me a huge bear hug. And then he said something that I'll actually never forget in the most sincere way imaginable. He just said, "Thank you." And at that moment, I knew that we weren't just building fundraising software at StayClassy. What we were doing is enabling people like Johnny Immerman and thousands of others to go out and tackle some of the world's toughest challenges. And it was at that moment I understood the common thread for everyone on that boat. It didn't matter if you were running a for-profit company or a non-profit company, or if you had done X amount of revenue last year or acquired so many customers. What actually mattered was that everyone had a sincere and honest appreciation for social entrepreneurship. Not just entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship. Being driven by a higher set of metrics that we're all accountable for, like our progress against poverty, war, and disease. And even though Johnny and I come from very different backgrounds and we're running very different types of organizations, we're both trying to improve the world with our organizations. And because of that, we're collaborating together to achieve a common set of social goals. Gatherings like Summit Series and the Classy Awards are a phenomenal first step to bring people together to start and ignite the conversation about collaboration. Just look around you. In this room right now, we have some of the most forward-thinking organizations on the planet, literally. You'll see organizations that are working well beyond their corporate designations to pave the way for the rest of society. But that deserves a round of applause. But it's not enough for us, all of us, to commend the few that are taking the lead. We all have a responsibility to contribute to this. In every startup garage, in every boardroom, in every government facility, we should all be asking the question every day, what do we want to accomplish together? Do we want to cure cancer in 10 years? Together. Do we want to eradicate poverty and homelessness? Together. And do we want to ease the suffering of pain and war or end it altogether? What do we want to accomplish? And then let's go out and do it together. I have the privilege of introducing a video that is from an organization that to me epitomizes social collaboration and social entrepreneurship, and that organization, as many of you know, is Invisible Children. This organization has literally brought together thousands of people from across the world, most of them giving up their time for free. In addition, they've brought together businesses, entire governments, and most importantly, local Ugandans who are all helping to end the longest-running war in Africa, led by a mass murderer and madman, Joseph Kony. Now, myself and everyone at StayClassy has had the absolute privilege to work with Invisible Children throughout the course of the year to help them fund some of their most important projects. Recently, they just raised $1.8 million in the last couple months using our software to build a series of radio towers throughout the Congo. And the point of these towers is for the people and the villagers to be able to communicate with each other to escape the rebel attacks and mass slaughter. I mean, is there anything more noble than that? That definitely deserves a round of applause for Invisible Children. Personally, I've never seen an organization tap into the power of technology and the human spirit the way Invisible Children does. I think their founder said it the best, Jason Russell. He said, "We are united by technology and humanity together." I couldn't agree more with Jason. We are united by humanity, and we are united by technology. But we're also united by the suffering and the sacrifices that we make to end that suffering. All of us together in this room need to band together and get behind organizations like Immerman Angels and like Invisible Children to strengthen that bond. And it's up to all of us to work together to shape a destiny that generations to come will be proud of. Thank you very much. And without further ado, please welcome Invisible Children.